Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jeanelle Slade.
And I'm Russ. Montana lawmakers come together, compromise, and push forward to crack down on child molesters.
A bipartisan group of state lawmakers unveiled a bill today to help prevent childhood sex abuse in Montana and bring perpetrators to justice.
But some advocates for victims say the bill still doesn't go far enough.
MTN chief political reporter Mike Dennison tells us why.
The bill touted Wednesday at a Capitol News conference would allow prosecution at any time of those who sexually abuse children, instead of the current limit, which says it must happen within 20 years of the crime. But the bill only slightly expands the current time limits on when a victim of childhood sexual abuse can sue for damages. A separate bill to remove those limits entirely ran into opposition, and the compromise bill will take its place. Democratic State Representative Shane Morgeau of Missoula had sponsored the original bill, but said Thursday he'll be carrying the compromise.
Ultimately, this bill, it does do a lot to protect the interests of survivors of childhood sex abuse in Montana. And while it may not be perfect, it brings Montana laws forward significantly.
Republican State Representative Bill Mercer of Billings, who opposed removing the statute of limitations entirely on civil suits, said very few states have taken that approach.
That's probably because historically, the longer you wait to get away from the conduct, the harder it is for that trial to be a search for the truth.
He noted that the compromise bill also includes stricter reporting standards on child sex abuse to make it more likely perpetrators are prosecuted when the abuse happens.
The guiding principle here is, how is it that we can have an effective response when sexual abuse occurs? Every time we have a predator that is not intercepted through an effective investigation, there is an extremely high risk that there will be another victim, and another victim, and another victim.
Yet the lead attorney for victims abused by a former Miles City athletic trainer told MTN News Thursday that leaving civil lawsuit limitations in place protects only one entity: insurance companies who covered people or institutions that let the abuse happen. John Heenan says the so-called compromise is compromising the rights of victims and that the limits should be removed. But that's not going to happen in this legislature. The compromise bill appears to have the full support of lawmakers from both parties and looks like it has a clear path through this session. At the Capitol, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
The bill, still in draft form, will be introduced next month.
Almost immediately after today's changes, survivors of alleged abuse at the hands of longtime Miles City athletic trainer James Jensen spoke out.
Now, the men talked with Q2 News anonymously, but did say today's new statute of limitations proposed bill is a good first step.
A slight break in the snow and cold means schools across Billings and the region will resume classes tomorrow, but with this weather break being short-lived, school district leaders will be watching temperatures closely over the next week. Closing school doors is a tricky decision, not taken lightly by educators. Student safety is the highest priority and the primary reason that School District 2 shut down today. Over in western Montana, just like the snow totals, the schools closure list is continually growing. The latest storm started early this morning along the Bitterroot Front, north to Lolo and the southern end of the Missoula Valley, and it just kept on snowing. By late morning, roads, streets, and driveways that had been at least partially cleared in Tuesday's break between storms were already starting to drift in again. Because there's so much snow from earlier in the week, plows and trucks are creating mini blizzards as they pass.
Well, another 3 to 6 inches of snow is expected in the Billings area through Friday, and this weekend will bring another round of nasty cold. Bob McGuire here now to show us more. Bob.
You sure you guys want to talk to me about this
Not
tonight?
really, but I think we should.
We got to blame it on someone.
Well, we can show you that the snow that moved into the Billings area earlier this evening is in the process of moving out. You can see it here on the Doppler radar. You can see that stuff is heading towards Broadus, the southeast corner of the state, but we still have a little batch of snow over there in the Beartooth foothills, which still could come our way before the night is over with at this point in time. So as you'll see on our threat board, that's kind of thinned out a little bit. We still have a winter weather advisory for south central Montana, including Billings. Could see 1 to 3 inches inches of snow tonight, and then another 3 to 6 inches of snow by the time Friday gets here. So that's what we'll be looking at. We're still on track for 2 to 5 feet of snow up in the Beartooth, and also over there by Wheatland County. Could see 3 to 6 inches of snow in the mountains there, and another batch of snow up by Kalispell, 3 to 5 inches of snow in that area. But you'll notice by the time the weekend gets here, our temperatures will drop all the way down to 5 below zero for the afternoon highs. And then after that, check this out, our 8 to 14-day forecast, March 7th through the 13th, still expecting temperatures way below average. Average this time of year is about 40 degrees. We'll do well to get into the 20s. We'll have more on that in a few more minutes.
Wow, thanks, Bob. Well, this severe storm that's dumped a record amount of snow and left sub-zero temperatures in its wake has pushed Montana Governor Steve Bullock to declare a state of energy emergency. Now, the order temporarily suspends hours of service regulations for drivers who deliver home heating fuels. Normally, commercial drivers are only allowed a maximum of 11 hours of driving during a 14-hour on-duty period. Now, the declaration will make it easier for carriers to supply propane, heating oil, and diesel fuel to communities struggling with snow. Now, the governor's order does require drivers to operate commercial vehicles in a safe manner, including necessary rest.
A lot of people, understandably, choose to stay home in the midst of falling snow, icy streets, and dropping temperatures.
And that decision can mean big opportunity for food delivery drivers. Q2's David J. checked in with a local restaurant owner to learn more about these busy days. David.
Jeanelle, Russ, Top Z Sandwich Company on the West End typically has its busiest times around lunchtime into the late afternoon. Today, deliveries kept sandwich makers and drivers busy. The rush had calmed down by this evening for Top Z. Top's, owner Tucker Veldkamp says that's fairly normal in the sandwich business. In January and February, winter brings more deliveries. First Mark has been plowing all around Billings, including residential areas, which helps Top's drivers.
Days like today, we'll have 4 or 5 guys out on the roads, 2 to 3 guys in store, and we can do up to like 40, 50 in an hour deliveries. Typically, we'll have double the delivery drivers on than we would on like a summer night, even with the same amount of deliveries, just because, yeah, it's dangerous out there.
And Tucker Veldkamp says in the summer, the store will be full, and in winter, the phone and online ordering make it busy for those deliveries. Jeanelle?
All right, thanks so much, David. New details tonight surrounding the death of a Bozeman skier swept into an avalanche in the Bridger Mountains yesterday. The Gallatin Avalanche Center says the slide happened on the west side of the Bridger Range at the top of Truman Gulch. The skier, 36-year-old Peter Lazar, was solo when a couple working their way up the hill watched it all happen. Lazar was swept under the snow and downhill roughly 1,000 feet. He was found with his hand sticking out of the snow, but once dug out, could not be revived with CPR. Now, the Gallatin Avalanche Center reports that Lazar was a well-known and loved local. Crews say they are deeply saddened to report this tragic accident.
A local Flathead bull riding star is under fire tonight for holding a sign that some say is racist. The Columbia Falls principal says parent Bo Hill was spotted at a weekend basketball game holding a sign with the letters FTI. That game was against the Browning Indians, and some say the sign is racist. But Hill is defending himself on social media, saying FTI means for Thai in India, a friend and family dog. He says he's not racist. The principal doesn't condone the behavior.
Just days after the Bozeman School Board named the city's new high school after Montana State Fish, it looks as if the board members are throwing that name back in and fishing for something else. Apparently, community reaction to the name West Slope High School has been less than enthusiastic, so the board will meet next week to reconsider the name. A focus group had whittled down 170 names submitted by the public to 3. At next week's meeting, the board could decide to open the decision to community vote. If that happens, the choice would be between the 3 finalists: West Slope, Spanish Peaks, and Storm Castle.
On to national news, it was a day of high drama on Capitol Hill where President Trump's former personal attorney delivered public testimony to lawmakers. Natalie Brand reports on Michael Cohen's explosive language about the president.
Michael Cohen turned on his former boss, saying he regrets the day he first went to work for Donald Trump.
I am ashamed because I know what Mr. Trump is. He is a racist, he is a con man, and he is a cheat.
Testifying under oath, Cohen said President Trump reimbursed him for payments to cover up an affair with porn star Stormy Daniels.
Lying to the First Lady is one of my biggest regrets, because she is a kind, good person, and I respect her greatly.
He also said during the presidential campaign then candidate Trump knew ahead of time about WikiLeaks releasing damaging emails about Hillary Clinton. And he alleged Mr. Trump knew of and directed plans for a Trump Tower in Moscow throughout his 2016 campaign and lied about it. Complicating his testimony, Cohen has pleaded guilty to lying to Congress in the past, which brought a stern warning from the committee chairman.
We will not tolerate lying to this Congress.
And attacks from the right.
You're about to go to prison for lying. How can we believe anything you say?
Republicans fought fiercely to stop Cohen from testifying, calling the disbarred attorney a fraudster and a cheat.
Liar, liar, pants on fire. No one should ever listen to you and give you credibility.
Cohen answered the onslaught with his own accusation.
I did the same thing that you're doing now for 10 years. I protected Mr. Trump for 10 years.
Following a full day of testimony, House Oversight Chairman Elijah Cummings said he believed Cohen told the truth and that President Trump committed a crime while in office.
Based on what, looking at the checks and listening to Mr. Cohen, it appears that he did.
Cohen reports to prison in May to serve a 3-year sentence. And Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Also tonight, President Trump is expected to try to convince North Korean leader Kim Jong-un to give up his nuclear weapons. In return, Trump says he will hold the promise to help North Korea become what he calls an economic powerhouse. Nicole Killian has the latest.
After President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un reaffirmed their new bond, the two prepared for formal sit-down talks on Thursday.
There are a lot of great ideas being thrown about. I think very importantly, the relationship is, just very strong.
The leaders are expected to sign a joint agreement at a ceremony as their summit in Hanoi, Vietnam begins to wind down.
I know we're going to have a fantastic success with respect to Chairman Kim and North Korea. They're going to have an economic powerhouse.
American officials hope the allure of sanctions relief and a new role in Asia's economy will convince Kim to eventually give up his nuclear weapons. It's the second time President Trump and Kim have met in just 8 months. Still, after 70 years of hostility between their countries, observers say major obstacles remain.
It's difficult to negotiate with a dictator, and of course Kim Jong-un is a ruler of a totalitarian country.
The president said negotiations are moving along.
Speed is not that important to me. I very much appreciate no testing of nuclear rockets.
Kim said some misunderstandings and hostility remain. Speaking through an interpreter, he thanked President Trump for what he called his courageous decision to meet and said he is hopeful they will succeed. Nicole Killian, CBS News, the White House.
Experts say as part of a formal denuclearization agreement, Kim wants an end-of-war declaration. It would replace the 1953 armistice that ended the Korean War.
Coming up on tonight's 10 o'clock news, it's an important reminder for ranchers about their cattle and vaccinations. That story next.
Plus, a small Montana town with a big problem tackled it together. We'll show you how.
And in sports, Scott shows us if Rockies men hold court at home to open the Frontier playoffs or if their season is finished.
You're watching MTN News with Jeanelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Breen. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.